Hello! In this video we're going to learn more about interpreting these atomic predications. What do they mean? How do we, and so in particular, how are we going to symbolize with them? So let's let big G mean is green, big F mean is a frog, and little b mean Bob. So how do you think we would symbolize Bob as a frog? What you should do is pause the video and write down how you think we would symbolize Bob as a frog. So the way we symbolize Bob as a frog is big F, little b. We have a frog is symbolized by the big F, Bob is symbolized by the little b, and the way we put those together in the logical language is we have predicate letter and then a name. So we have the two pieces of our logical language mean the same thing as the two pieces of the original English sentence, but the order is reversed. And we have is a frog is compressed into just the letter, the big F. How about our second one? If Bob is a frog, Bob is green. Again, pause the video and write down what you think that would be symbolized. So Bob is a frog, we know how to symbolize that, so that'd be FB. Bob is green, that's going to be big G, little b, right? Because big G is green, B is Bob. We put the predicate letter first and then the name. And then we'll put an arrow in between. So we have big F, little b, arrow, big G, little b. FB symbolizing Bob is a frog, GB symbolizing Bob is green, and we make a conditional out of it by putting the conditional symbol in between them. Great. How about Bob is a green frog? This might be slightly tricky because we have to remember how we can AND works. And what you need to remember about how AND works is that AND hasn't changed. The only way AND can work is by hooking up two formulas. So we have to make two separate formulas, and then we might want to use an AND. So why don't you pause the video, try that. So Bob is a green frog tells us that Bob is green and that Bob is a frog. So the way we say that is FB and GB, and that's the only way grammatically in our logical language we can do that. The only place we can put the and is between two formulas. So we make the formula FB, we make the formula GB, and we stick them together with the and we're good to go. We're saying Bob is green and Bob is a frog, and that's the best we can do to symbolize Bob as a green frog. And our last sentence, Bob is not a frog. Well, we know how to symbolize Bob as a frog, not FB, and this just says that's false. So pause the video, write down what you think it is, and there it is, not FB. We put the negation on the whole formula. The way negation works hasn't changed, so we make the sentence Bob is a frog and attach the negation to it. I'm going to do some examples now in the symbolization module in Logic 2010, so you should pause the video and open up the logic program, then you can follow along with me, and we'll look at 190 up through probably 197 or 198, something like that. So we'll go through some more complicated problems as we proceed. We're going to start with Alice is an aardvark. We see, and that's 190, we see we've got a bunch of names, A, B, C, D, little ones for Elise, Alice, Bob, Clarice, and Diego, and then big A is an aardvark, big B bites, big C is a cat, and big D digs. So Alice is an aardvark. So that's going to be big A, and that would be little a. So we'll say atomic, and let's try little a, big A. Oh, no, that's wrong. When it says could not parse little a, big A, that's telling us that we messed up the grammar, and we did. Our grammar requires that. So our grammar requires that the predicate letter come first, so we have to write big A, little a. And when we check that, then that is correct. So let's look at another one. Bob is an aardvark, so we have is an aardvark, that's big A, Bob is little b, so that's going to be atomic. We put the predicate letter first, so big A and then little b. Big A is an aardvark, B for Bob, reversing the verb, subject, order, correct. Very exciting. There we go. Clarice bites. Okay, so let's see. Bites is going to be big B. Clarice is little c. So we want to go big B, little c. Verb, the predicate letter, and then the name. And again, that's going to be correct. Bob is a cat, on the other hand, so is a cat, that's big C. Bob is little b, so that's going to be atomic. We'll have big C, little b. Great. And we'll keep going. Actually, let's take a look at our list. All right, yeah, now we'll do some more complicated ones. So Alice isn't an aardvark. Well, we have Alice as an aardvark, but this is the negation of that. So really this sentence will make a negation of Alice is an aardvark. And that is now an atomic sentence. And we'll put the predicate letter A first for is an aardvark, and then little a for Alice. And we have our answer. Good, so the negation is, this is the negation of Alice as an aardvark, so we say negation, and then we do Alice is an aardvark. Alice isn't an aardvark, but Bob is. Well, so there's that but, and if we remember, but is a conjunction, so we'll have Alice isn't an aardvark on one side, but Bob is on the other. So we know that this is the negation of Alice is an aardvark, and we should be very familiar by now with the idea that this is big A, little a, but Bob is. Bob is what? Bob is an aardvark. So is an aardvark big A, Bob little b, so that's going to be big A, little b. So we have a conjunction of is an aardvark of Bob and not is an aardvark of Alice. So Alice isn't an aardvark, but Bob is an aardvark. Yes, good. If Diego is a cat, Diego digs. So this is a conditional of these with that as antecedent and that as conjunction. So let's say that. So we'll put Diego as a cat in the antecedent and Diego digs in the consequent. Diego is a cat. Is a cat is big C. Diego is little d. So we will say big C, little d. Diego digs. That's going to be big D, little d. And we have our answer. And let's just look at one or two more. Yeah, we'll do, we'll skip 197 is the same thing. Oh, yeah, we're going to skip 197. We'll do 198 and 199. Bob is a cat who bites. So what does this tell us about Bob? It tells us two things. It tells us that Bob is a cat and Bob bites. So we're going to symbolize this as a conjunction of, Bob is a cat and Bob bites. Okay, Bob bites. Since we're over here, let's do that. Bites is big B, Bob is little b, so big B, little b. Bob is a cat. Is a cat is big C, the big comes first, and then little b for the name Bob. Check that, we're good. So Bob is a cat who bites, who is a conjunction. So we have the conjunction of Bob is a cat with Bob bites. Bob is a cat, big C, little b. Bob bites, big B, little b. And we'll do our last one. Alice is an eager aardvark. Well, what does this tell us? It tells us two things. Alice is eager and Alice is an aardvark. So again, it's a conjunction. We'll say, let's just pop that over there. Alice, order doesn't matter. We'll say Alice is an aardvark over here. We've gotten very familiar with Alice is an aardvark, big A, little a. Alice is eager. That will be, okay, is eager is big E, Alice is little a. So we'll have atomic big E, little a. So there we go. Those are a bunch of examples of symbolizing with our new atomic formulas, our atomic predications with a predicate letter and a name, and then putting those inside of our propositional operators. And so they go inside propositional operators just the way that sentence letters do. So hopefully that's straightforward.